Hi guys, welcome to ToK today. Today we're super lucky to have with us Magda from Unifymecounselling to answer the question on how ToK can help us with our higher education application. So can ToK help us to get into university? Without any further ado, let's get into it. Okay, guys, so today we're going to look at how ToK can help us with higher education applications. And we are super fortunate to have with us Magda from Unifymecounselling. Hi, Magda. Thank you very much for joining us. Do you want to
My pleasure.
do you want to introduce yourself and tell the viewers a bit about yourself and your experience and so on?
Yeah, so thank you so much for the invitation. My name is Magda. I am currently based in Dubai in the UAE, where I work as an independent educational consultant. I work with students from our curriculums, but my personal experience and let's say foundation comes from the IB, where years ago I used to teach psychology and ToK, and I was a CAS advisor. Currently, I still work as an extended essay moderator for psychology, and I love talking about how the IB can be a fantastic starting point for students, an advantage when they're applying to higher education.
Cool. So you are well versed in the IB diploma. You know what my viewers are going to be going through in their diploma, and you know all about ToK. You're the perfect person to have advising us on higher education.
Yeah, and I think, I think that the IB is also, working with students from different curricula. I feel the IB is such a strong way to prepare students, not only for applications, but also for what happens at university. And time again, I've been in touch with students I've worked with previously, and they're like, yep, after the IB, first year was a breeze. Everybody was stressing out. Meanwhile, I was just going, going to classes, doing exams. It's a lot of work, but it does pay off.
We'll get onto that later. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just jump in with the big question. Can ToK help me with my higher education application?
The short answer is yes. ToK can definitely help with higher education application twofold. First off, it's the skills and knowledge that you acquire through the ToK class. You are learning skills that universities are looking for in their candidates: critical thinking, metacognitive skills, having a wide range of knowledge from interdisciplinary subjects and combining it together, additionally presenting, additionally writing. So all of those skills can be showcased in the application. Not to mention, I have had students that sometimes use the content that they worked on during ToK, during an interview, or for an essay.
So great, we've got metacognition skills, critical thinking skills, communication skills. Will those skills sort of be evident in different ways for applications to different higher education systems? Like, is it different for the UK to say the US and so on?
Well, you mentioned US and UK, and those are the two systems that do require an essay for their application process. Again, depending on the selectivity of the university, this can be either just a personal statement in the UK and a common app essay for the US, but then there's a number of supplemental essays in the US that the universities require. Many universities also do want a motivation letter or some sort of written piece. So the skills that you obtain through writing the ToK essay and the analysis and the critical thinking can be showcased in that. Again, I don't think for the US, but more for the UK, mentioning either, if your ToK exhibition or if your ToK essay has to do with the subject that you intend to study, it's a great idea to mention that and show that you kind of went above and beyond the curriculum and looked at a certain problem or a certain let's say, concept from the theory of knowledge perspective. So I think, yeah, definitely.
For the US system, some of those essay questions are quite abstract, aren't they?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I was wondering whether there might be a sort of link up in some of the ways that some of the ways that the students think about their ToK exhibition and and those US essays. I don't know if you've had experience with the exhibition because it's quite new.
Vaguely, vaguely, but I do think that, you know, you having so much experience with ToK, you know that the best exhibitions and the best work comes from students that are genuinely interested in what they are presenting. It's not like they get a topic that they have to work on that's kind of given to them. And I think that very often students, I don't like overusing the word passionate, but when they do have a strong interest or passion, they'll try to integrate that in different kind of components of their educational journey, whether it be their extended essay topic, whether it'll be their CAS activities or their ToK exhibition. And then having that interest and having all those experiences and knowledge and skills around that, it's a lot easier to create a very personal and very authentic and believable essay. So I think that's one of the ways. And again, for the US, the focus is more on seeing the person, who they are. It's almost like a window into their soul. Whereas for the UK, the universities want to see the academic potential and the capabilities. And I'm going to repeat myself here that what better way to do that than through showing, and I am going to expand this to the extended essay as well. I think both extended essay and ToK are very, very strong elements that can be used in the application, especially as a supercurricular, which means something that they did an expansion in school that's an extracurricular, but is linked to the subject that they want to study.
Okay, great. Might be a good time just to tell the viewers that Magda is going to come back in the second video to talk about how CAS and extended essay can help us to apply successfully to university. So
I'm trying to focus on the ToK right now and not get too carried away.
Yeah, you're just saying about the US there and how they want you to have this sort of reflective discourse, to use that term, on you know, how you have developed as a person. And the ToK exhibition really wants you to do that as well. They have this thing where you've got to sort of take an object and then say what that object means to you and then how that taught you about ToK. And that's a super difficult skill to learn. But once you crack it, then you can start to show how you relate to the rest of the world and the rest of the world relates to you.
I'll let you on to a little secret here that, you know, when I work with students applying to the US and we're brainstorming their essays, and usually I would say that's one of the elements that students really struggle with. It's hard enough talking about yourself, but then also being kind of building a narrative and a reflection and really being vulnerable. And one of the exercises, the brainstorming exercises that I do, is very similar to that of the object. As students pick objects that have some sort of meaning for them, and then there's an expansion as to why these objects are meaningful, what journey kind of made them have meaning, so I think it's a very, very, like you said, similar. So even students could take their ToK exhibition and work and kind of shape it into a very, very strong personal essay.
Okay, that's really useful for students who are thinking of applying to the US. And obviously we've got the sort of subject content for students applying to the UK. And I think the personal statement for the UK is there are quite well-known sort of formulas or
Yes.
Have I said something very wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. But in those formulas, we have to insert specific content, anecdotal evidence. So I think that, again, this is something tangible. This is something that the student has created, the student has written, that the student has knowledge about. So they can both write about it. And then for super selective schools like Oxford or Cambridge, or schools that do have an interview, the ToK essay content and showing that understanding of the foundation of knowledge, of how it's formed, of how it's acquired, of methodology behind different disciplines, that's an extremely useful skill to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, brilliant. So we've said something about the US and the UK. What about other university systems? Is this at all relevant for any other application systems?
Well, any different countries have very different application systems. Some countries just base their applications on grades. So then we're kind of bringing that back into the extra 3 bonus points, which can sometimes mean to get in or not to get in. But I think there's so much more value that I wouldn't want to focus on that. One more application system that I would like to mention, and especially a certain category of universities, is the Netherlands, which is becoming increasingly popular. And the Netherlands have very, very much developed their system of liberal arts colleges, or university colleges, as they call them. So their main research universities, like Amsterdam University, Erasmus, Maastricht, they all have a satellite university college, which provides smaller scale liberal arts education. And those colleges do have a lot of written components. Some of them have a video. So some of them also have that presentation aspect. And especially because liberal arts is, the whole idea is that it is interdisciplinary. ToK goes in here and kind of also has a lot of value and can be used because students will most likely be creating their own curriculum that very often combines very different subjects. Similarly to ToK, that takes different fields of knowledge and combines them, or looks at similarities, differences, common core concepts, and so on.
That's a really great sort of tip there that you've brought up, which is when people are applying for more interdisciplinary courses, and ToK is where you've really spent a lot of time examining the links between knowledge and the interdisciplinary nature of knowledge. And I guess that partly goes for the US as well. Okay, so anything more on the application bit, or shall we move on to looking at when you actually are at university?
I think we can move on to university. In terms of applications, they're very highly individualized. So, we can talk about it, but in my experience, what I found that each student's journey, each student's sort of combination of majors, programs, locations, wants, aspirations is so different that it does require sort of individualized support, and kind of thinking about, okay, how can we take this person and all their achievements and build their profile and present them as, present all their highlights so they stand out as a candidate. So yeah, we can definitely move on to universities.
Okay, so students have worked hard at their DP, particularly in ToK. They've got a great score. They've worked with Unifymecounselling and they've got into their dream school. They've gone off to university. Will ToK be any help for them when they're actually studying in higher education?
So, Danny, I almost feel like that's a rhetorical question because I know you can speak to that so well. Again, I think the whole IB, but ToK additionally and especially will be extremely helpful because the whole IB, the whole last 2 years, the full diploma is a pre-university program. it's not a regular high school. It prepares you for higher education. Higher education is optional. So when you go, and especially, there are, like you said, interdisciplinary courses. There are universities that are very academically rigorous. Through the 2 years of ToK, you have built the language, you have built the skills in expressing ideas, understanding them, critically analyzing, synthesizing, and then also the writing skills, which it's difficult to make it through university without being able to present those ideas in writing. And ToK teaches all of those skills. I also think that the depth in which it goes is the level of depth you go at university. So you're almost kind of coming in pre-prepared and ahead of many other classmates that are going to be coming in from other systems.
A levels. I'm very ID biased. Sorry, I know you can't be.
I am as well.
I can. Right? Yeah. Yeah, I've had lots of students who've come back to me after they've been at university for a year or two and have said, "Oh, so much of what we do is like ToK," and I think that as you move through the higher education system, you focus more on the production of knowledge and the problems of methodology rather than just learning the content itself, of course, as you move towards masters and PhD. I had a student who was at university in Canada doing a screenwriting course, and he kept getting in touch with me and just said, "Oh, we're not learning about screenwriting. We're just learning about how people produce knowledge all the time. It's like doing ToK." And then he sent me his sort of end of year summative essay question, and it was like a mirror copy of the ToK essay question that he'd written a year earlier. It was like, wow. Yeah, I won't mention the university in Canada, but it's a very popular one.
I have to say, when I think about my experiences with ToK and like all the amazing students I've worked with, and I do understand that ToK is it's different. And I do know that some students come into it with resistance because it's like, oh my goodness, the subject we're talking about, why this and why that, and and it's sometimes it can get a little bit wishy-washy or abstract, or but I feel that when people stick through it, things start emerging, understanding starts emerging, and it's almost like spreading your like intellectual ability, so then your mind can just grasp more.
And also, the more they watch ToK today, the clearer it all becomes to them anyways.
Of course. Exactly.
Some super useful things that you've brought to our understanding there, Magda. That's really great, particularly for me, the interdisciplinary nature of ToK and the fact that students are applying for interdisciplinary courses, and the sort of thinking skills and the communication skills that they take with them and then they can use when they get to university. It's really useful for us. Is there anything else you want to add, or you can add on the link between ToK and higher education? Don't feel like you have to, because you've already given us a lot to think about already.
I think when you're saying this, one thing kind of came to my mind that I would really like to share is that with the IB, and especially with students doing the full diploma program, which are the students that are doing ToK, these are very often competitive environments. Very often students at the age of 16 know what they're going to be doing. They almost have their whole career path or educational journey planned out. I feel that sometimes those students have a lot of focus on the subjects that are going to be serving them or going to be required from them at university. I feel that ToK is almost like, I'm looking for a metaphor, like almost like a warm blanket that you can kind of wrap around all of it. And also for those students that aren't in that place and then get stressed out that, oh my God, I don't know what I want to be doing. I'm going to go back to the liberal arts and sciences and interdisciplinary programs because I can see in my practice how popular they're becoming. And I feel that they're such a good solution for a lot of people that don't know what they want to do or have a broad range of interests at the age of 18. And therefore, ToK is also a very useful tool of exploring different kind of interactions and seeing what it would be like to give themselves a little bit more time to figure out their journey. And, kind of going back to the ancient Greek model that education is actually something that is broad. Mm-hmm. So that's just kind of one thing that I wanted to add here.
Absolutely. We're starting to touch on here the intrinsic versus extrinsic reasons for doing the diploma, ToK, university, and the whole thing.
I might have to do a whole series, and get really in depth with this.
I think we're going to get into the intrinsic versus extrinsic thing in the second video, because I think that's really, really key, both for success in ToK and in higher education applications and higher education and life.
And life.
Yeah.
And life, yes.
Okay. I think that there's a lot for our viewers to think about there and to learn about higher education and ToK and the use of ToK in higher education applications. So thank you so much for that.
My pleasure.
Do you want to just tell people a little bit about what your counselling service does and how they can contact you? And
of course. So, like I said, I'm based in Dubai, but I work with clients worldwide. So if you are in a situation that you are applying somewhere and need support with creating an application, you are looking for somebody to help you through the journey, whether it's from a psychological standpoint or a more logistical one, or you have no idea what you want to do, I provide career coaching, I provide university guidance and educational consulting. So please get in touch. My details will be shared below, whether through my website or WhatsApp or email. And I'm very, very happy to talk. We always have a first free introductory session to just get to know each other and see if I can be the right person to support you in what you're doing. And yeah, would love to hear from you.
That's really great. Absolutely superb. And obviously, the people who are watching ToK today are the same people who are doing the higher education applications, and great. We're about to go into that now. So.
And this is, I think with IB students, I work with students ranging from those applying to the US, UK, Europe, Australia. I have students staying in the Middle East. So whatever you're looking for, please, and you have questions, don't stay with those questions. Don't stress out. Just get in touch.
That's really great. Thank you so much, Magda. That's really generous of you. And we look forward to you joining us on the second video, which will be coming up in the next week or two, which is on how the whole diploma core can work together to help your higher education application. Magda will be coming back for that.
Thank you so much, Daniel. And thank you for all the amazing work you do supporting students with their ToK and their IB journey. I personally know how much value you have to offer. So also thank you for that.
That's very nice of you to say. Thank you. So there we go, guys. It's so good to have Magda as a university expert showing us how ToK can help us to get into university. Study well in ToK and you'll study well at university. Magda is going to come back on the next video to tell us about the whole IB diploma course, and that's CAS, ToK and EE, and how all three of them together can help us to get into university. If you found this video useful or you're just feeling generous, then I would love a like and I'd love a subscribe. And if you have any comments, then please let me know in the comments section below. I hope to see you on the next one. Stay ToKtastic, my friends. Bye.